to have the OG music back. Welcome, everyone, to the No Credentials Required NHL Preseason Show. We are presented by Belly Up Sports. My name is Ryan McCarthy. I'm one of the hosts of the show. And to my that's right, Dustin's on vacation. He's going to miss out on this show. he's going to miss out on this show, but he's with us in spirit. And we had some big news break today in regards to his favorite team, which we'll talk about in a moment. I've got some panelists I'm going to introduce you to in just a brief moment. We are live on Facebook, on YouTube, and on Twitter. This will be exclusively on the social media on our channels exclusively. This will be available podcast form tomorrow on Belly Up and Friends, so you don't want to miss out on that if you're a podcast listener. If you're more of an audio file for your listening needs, or if you want to watch us and just listen in the background for if you have YouTube Premium, thank you for joining us. But all sorts of puck talk tonight, because tomorrow starts a new season of the National Hockey League. Rejoice, all who observe, please jump in the comment section, tell us your favorite team, tell us where you're joining from, and we'll be able to we'll get things started. But before we do that, I just want to mention what we're going to talk about tonight. Lots of storylines, some league-wide storylines. Had some big news today. Alexander Ovechkin chasing 900 goals. The Olympic break that's coming up in February. We got the NHL back in the Olympics, which you'll see coverage of on this particular program. But before we do that, I just want to remind you folks at home, please give us a follow on social media, whether it's on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube. Just search for No Credentials Required. You can also find us on any other articles like hockey articles at bellyupsports.com. On the podcast side, you can subscribe to the podcast wherever you listen to podcasts, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, Pandora, this YouTube channel, and on Podbean, which is our host. And hit that notification bell on Twitter and on YouTube so you know when the show goes live, when there's show announcements, and where there's clips of the show. So let's break this down how we're going to do things. We're going to talk about league-wide stories, the biggest stories from the season, the offseason coming into this season. We're going to talk about team spotlights, which teams we really have our eyes on. The Olympic break, which happens in February, from February 7th to 24th. We're going to talk about those things. Take a quick sponsor break, then we come back, talk about division by the division, spend 15 minutes there, then we go into bold predictions. And for my degenerate viewers out there, betting futures, because we had some changes today in regards to betting futures. So let's get things started. I'm going to bring in my first guest. He is the proprietor of the Time to BS podcast, also BS Sessions and Seahawks Sessions. He likes Sessions. Maybe he likes Sessions Ale. I don't know. We'll have to ask him. Dan Cruz. Dan, how are we doing tonight?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. I have decided to pollute this delightful atmosphere here on No Credentials Required. I'm back, ladies and gentlemen, and here to cause chaos once again. And I'm decked out in Islander gear, so this will be fun. So
I got my Devils shirt on. I purchased this last year with my niece in tow. She was this is her first Devils game last year.
Oh, delightful.
It was a great trip coming down, but the trip back was 5.5 hours long because we ran into a snowstorm. And New Jersey does not know how to properly clear snow off the roads.
No, they don't.
But we are going to go back on Black Friday. They got a game on Black Friday between the Devils and the Sabres. And we're going to go down. So it's a 4:00 game. So we're going to be going down there and checking it out. She's a big Hughes Brothers Hughes fan. So
the Hughes trio.
Especially Jack. Jack's her favorite. All right, so we got Dan here. We're going to my other panelist we're going to bring in. He is the primary host, actually the only host of the 1420 Sports Bar podcast. He is also one of my favorite baseball guys and one of my favorite Canadians, period. Brent Redlinsky. Brent, how are we doing tonight?
I'm doing really good. Anything to not talk Yankees baseball after that
Yes.
cesspool of a weekend that we saw. So if we can just keep that out of our yaps for about an hour and a half here, that would be great. So happy to be here. Happy to talk some hockey and not worry about the Yankees till about this time tomorrow night.
Yeah, Brent, I had a double nut kick yesterday between the Jets and the Yankees, so I'm happy to talk hockey tonight. Let's just put it that way.
Why do you think I abandoned the Yankees?
Aaron Boone.
Yeah, at about 3:15 yesterday afternoon, Mountain Standard Time, I was like, I'm good.
Yeah.
Hockey season's in.
Especially up here in Canada, everybody's a Jays fan right now, right? So it was just I'm good. So it's been a lot of fun, though. Everybody's been great, but it's just, anyways, that's enough Yankees talk. Let's talk some hockey.
Let's talk some hockey. Let's talk some puck. Yes, we're going to get things started by talking about the biggest stories entering the new seasons, 2025, 2026. This is going to be, as Dan's bringing the chaos, so this is going to be a pretty chaotic season this is the typical start around this time of year in the beginning of October, but we've got Olympic break in between where basically almost the entire month of February, there's no NHL. It's February 11th begins the men's round robin and then ends on February 22nd. And again, you'll see we'll have coverage on No Credentials Required in regards to Olympic hockey. So because but Dustin and I are excited. I mean, Olympics only comes around 4 years, and this is the first time we've had NHL representing the Olympics since 2014, if I remember correct. Because 2018 and 2022 they did not have representation at the Olympics. So let's talk about some of the biggest stories entering the 2025-2026 campaign. And obviously, the biggest story is the Florida Panthers. They are chasing a dynasty. Dynasty is typically 3 titles in a span of 10 years. They're going for a three-peat, which has not been done since Dan's Islanders teams from 1980 to 1983. They haven't won a cup since 1983. So before Dan was even a thought in his parents' eye, they have not won a Stanley Cup. Sorry, Dan.
No, it's all good. It's all good. Really showing my age here, but
you showing your age. You're showing my age. I haven't won a Stanley Cup. My Devils haven't won a Stanley Cup.
Yeah, I remember vividly, actually. Yeah.
I'm being generous here, lads, but let's also be real here. They're not the chances of them breaking the most unbreakable playoff streak in NHL history, 19 consecutive playoff series victories in a row, courtesy of these guys, 1980 to 1983. Well, 1984, technically, because they lost in a sweep to Edmonton in the 84 final. The first of Gretzky's 3 cups. I don't think Florida's going to get to that point because eventually the league is going to start to catch up. Not just the rest of the teams in the Eastern Conference, but also up there in the Western Conference as well, because Edmonton's going to get better. The rest of the West is going to get better.
Brent, how about you?
I think that they have a legitimate shot because they have 2 guys who are on a legitimate long-term IR, not like the you had Tampa's guys going on LTIR that weren't really hurt, hangnail, and what's what it was. But with Barkov going down and Kachuk still feeling the effects of the Four Nations face-off from last year and not playing until I think Kachuk's going to come back in December, and then Barkov's going to magically be okay in April just when the playoffs start. Weird how that kind of works every year with these guys from Florida, but I think they got a legitimate shot. They got Bobrovsky still in net, one of the best in the game, and they're going to have two of their top guys well rested. You have Marchand. You have a team that's won, and I don't want to say they rolled through the East over in the last few years, but they rolled through the East, and they ran into and they took down McDavid twice. And why not? Like, why not? They're going to have a couple guys that are well rested. There's a very good shot. And then we've said it before, Ryan, the different shows we've been on together. To be the man, you got to beat the man, and no one's done it yet. And I don't see why not. Like they're just as good or better than everybody in the East, and goaltending I still think matters, and they have one of the best in the game. He's definitely a Hall of Famer, so why not? It's definitely it's hard to win, but who's better? Who's better in the East?
It's true. It's true. I mean,
Hard to tell.
You could argue Carolina, but Carolina's been dump trucked by this Panthers team
Never
in the
does
last
anything in
3
the
years.
playoffs. Never ever does.
Nope.
A couple times, but never does anything in the playoffs.
No,
They obviously won that one in, what was it, 04 against the Oilers, and then
06.
It was 06, 05, 06,
yeah. 04 was Lightning before
the
before the lockout, and then Carolina won in 06.
So
Dustin remembers that.
And that's a long time ago. Like there's been a bit of a turnover since then. So I don't see why they couldn't. Like everybody's loading up to beat them. But who's gotten better? Like everything that they've got, they re-signed Marchand, they re-signed Ekblad, and they're not worse, and they already won one.
No, and they want to complete that dynasty arc. I mean, they've been to 3 cups in the last 3 years. They represented the East every single year for the last 3 years, and in fact, the state of Florida has represented the Stanley Cup. Has represented the East in the Stanley Cup for the last 6 seasons. So if it's not Florida, it could be Tampa. I mean, even Tampa's loaded for bear still.
And that's a good point, Ryan. Like these Florida teams and the Texas, the Dallas the same way. But all of a sudden at the deadline, when you got a few extra bucks to spend because you can save money on the taxes that these guys take, all of a sudden at the deadline you have some extra money you can spend that other teams can't. Florida's got a definite shot at doing it.
We're not even mentioning the entire elephant in the room in this entire situation. The Atlantic
I'm
itself.
right here, Dan.
Not you, the other elephant in the room. No, the Atlantic Division itself is a mess. Because outside of, Florida's really good. We can't deny that, right? Everyone else to me is kind of the same. Montreal's okay. The Leafs they're a turnstile and a half. The Bruins, I don't know what's going up there in Boston. Ottawa's
rebuild.
Please,
I'm sorry. I have a little bit of a cold. I'm sorry.
Please, no, please spew your nonsense here. We are welcome here in the Department of Nonsense.
Well, it is my show. I can do what I want.
This is true. Ottawa's getting better, and Detroit, there's optimism with the Red Wing fan base. But other than that, who's the real threat in the Atlantic? No one. No one. Let's be honest here, because Tampa's going to lose more players in free agency. Andrei Vasilevsky has been hurt. He's not the same Andrei Vasilevsky from years past. But everyone else in the Atlantic is just a mess. Sorry, Leafs fandom. You're a mess. You are. You're a blatant mess.
For some reason, everybody's anointing the Montreal Canadiens going to have this resurgence and going to be a second or third place team in the division in the conference. I don't see it because they're just not good enough. And they're going to be better. They were a playoff team last year. They just snuck in. But after that, what do you do? They're not better than anybody else. And Toronto's going to be worse without Marner. And Leafs fans hate to hear that, but it's true. They won't be as good. They won't be as good at all. And so
you're not wrong. You're not wrong with
Toronto
at all.
Marner, losing Marner, he was a bit of a cancer in the dressing room in Toronto land. But you just wonder with Toronto, you still have 110 points that aren't on your roster anymore. So they're not better than Florida. They're not better than Tampa, right? And so there it is. And is Detroit going to be there? Maybe, but they're an 8th seed, maybe.
Well, Toronto. You mentioned Toronto. They're really good in the regular season. We would make fun of we make fun of the Capitals for a dang near decade because they were so good in the regular season and didn't do squat in the playoffs.
Yeah. That's
Toronto. That's Toronto. Yeah, but also in the Capitals fans' defense, they've also won a cup for the first time in 60 years. So let's leave the Capitals out of this because they have a cup in the last 60 years. Toronto hasn't done squat. They've done nothing. And they continue
and
to do nothing in the
lost one of their top
playoffs.
scorers. So and Florida got better. So
Yeah. So that is the Florida Panthers. They're chasing a dynasty. Edmonton Oilers, talk about their hunger. They've been to the finals back-to-back seasons. As we know, the biggest news of the day, and it happened to be in all days today, as we do our preview, Connor McDavid has signed what many speculate, and I would say the same thing too, a very team-friendly deal. 2 years, $12.5 million. Does that, I have to wonder about this contract. It's telling me one of two things. Either Connor McDavid saying, okay, I'm gonna do the Tom Brady thing, like he did with the Patriots. I'm gonna defer the big payday for a couple of seasons. I want to make sure that my team gets better because I want to win here. I want to win a Stanley Cup here, and I want to help bring in bits and pieces like maybe maybe an actual defenseman who can play defense as opposed to like Evan Bouchard, who's the primary scorer on the back end. But I also want the team to acquire some quality goaltending because Stuart Skinner ain't doing it. Now there's Calvin Pickard. As much as I love Calvin Pickard and the fact that he has saved the Oilers' bacon in the playoffs the last 2 seasons, it's not these two teams, this tandem of these 2 goalies is not sustainable. And they got to pick somebody up. They had a chance to pick up John Gibson in the offseason. Now he's in Detroit. He's shoring up their goaltending there. So I want to hand this over to Brent because he's he's in Alberta. He's got a Lethbridge Hurricane sweatshirt for crying out loud. Come on, that just screams Alberta.
It does.
But does Connor McDavid taking a team-friendly deal for the next 2 seasons, is it sending a message to the team that, yes, I want to stay here, I want to win a cup here, I'll defer the payday later, or is it telling them, you got 2 years, if we don't win a cup, I'm skedaddling, I'm going somewhere else?
Ryan, this news was I thought he's going to take a short deal. A 2-year. I thought that was going to be it because the way the cap's going up, I don't want to talk money a whole bunch because it kind of ruins the game. But the cap's going up to, I think, 92 next year, then 104, then 120 over the next 3 years. It's going up substantially. So it only kind of made sense that McDavid would take this deal and then say, okay, what are you doing? This puts the Oilers on notice a lot more than it did before this, in my opinion. Okay, I'll stick around. Let's try to win one, but after 2 years, I might be out because there's gonna be a lot of teams with a lot of money in nicer locales in Edmonton, Alberta. I love Edmonton; it's been great, but win something now, and I'm going to take the Sidney Crosby hometown discount or the Brady discount, like you said. Remember, Crosby's been taking 8.7 for how long?
Yeah,
and he has rings. His Hall of Fame plaque, whether he finishes with Pittsburgh, hope we get that a little bit later on today. His Hall of Fame plaque already has Stanley Cup champion here, Stanley Cup champion here, Stanley Cup champion here. McDavid doesn't have that. For him to take this deal does another thing. It really puts a screw into any free agents coming up or who hadn't signed yet, because I don't know how anybody could go into a GM's office and Kaprizov, he got it done a little bit earlier, and I don't know why Billy Guerin decided to sign that deal when he did with Kaprizov, because now anybody who goes into any GM's office and says, I know why. Well, I'm sure you do, yeah. Because I was listening to Jessie Pierce. She was on the Belly Up Hockey Show a couple years back. And like the thing is, anybody who goes into GM's office now as a free agent be like, I want 15, I want 16, I want 17. And every GM now can say, no, man, he's playing for 12.5. I'm not giving you that. I'm just not. So the PA was given a little bit of there was some pressure. This goes back to years ago with Martin Brodeur. When he would take those deals, he was his own agent. So he'd be taking lesser money to win. So it's very comparable because Brodeur was the best goalie in the world, like McDavid is the best player in the world right now. But this puts everybody on point, and it gives the Oilers some flexibility in the next couple of years to make some deals, even this year if things don't go well, to get themselves a Stanley Cup. I think it was a fantastic move. I think it was a great move by McDavid. I think it was a good PR move by McDavid. There was nothing wrong in a fan's eyes with what he got today and what he did today. The only people that it hurt was pending free agents who wanted to get a little bit more and didn't get the deal done in time. I thought it was a great deal by McDavid and for both sides.
Yeah,
The guy's rich beyond belief already.
Yeah.
His endorsement deals up in Edmonton are good, and I've said this a lot of times. Like if you got 100, like I know it's $3 million a year, but if you got $156 million or $148 million, you'll be okay. You better be.
All
So to put the team above himself, it was a great PR move. I thought it was a great deal for McDavid and for the Edmonton Oilers for sure.
All right, Dan, go ahead and give us your take.
This is the best contract in the NHL for a top tier player. The best contract in the NHL for a player of his caliber. However, we're also not mentioning the possibility of a trade. Because keep in mind here, it's a 2-year deal.
True.
It is a 2-year deal, a very team-friendly contract. We're not even mentioning that possibility. If Edmonton, let's say, in theory, because we never know, if they take a nosedive this season and potentially halfway through next season, how many teams would call Edmonton right now and say, how much for Connor?
Yeah.
How much for McDavid?
Very good point.
How much for Connor McDavid? Because
it does open it up for that to happen.
It does.
A low number. No, that's a great point.
Unlike Kaprizov, who the Wild overpaid for him.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Like Leon Draisaitl's contract is what, 14?
Yeah.
14 million? Okay. McDavid is a centerman. How often do you get a centerman of his caliber at that pay rate?
Never.
It never happens. The last player of his caliber to be available at that time was also from that city. The great one himself, Wayne Gretzky. He got traded to the Kings. Now, we all know how that turned out for Edmonton. I'm pretty sure there's still riots to this day for how that trade went down for the Oilers. I can hear Brent cracking a cold one open, like, oh, here we go. Here we go.
August 8th, 1988.
Yeah, the worst day in Oilers history. I said
the worst day in Canada hockey history.
Yeah.
The possibility of that seismic move to happen increases because of this deal. If this were, I don't know, a 4-year deal, a 5-year deal, if it were 3 or 4 years longer, the idea of a trade would be no dice. But the fact it's a 2-year deal makes this very interesting.
That's a good point.
Yeah, 12.5 AAV. It's very affordable for some teams, especially.
It's not a bad contract.
Yeah, it's totally team friendly, but it's team friendly not only for Edmonton, it's also team friendly for, again, wild situation, because I think Edmonton's going to be in the mix for the next couple seasons again.
Yeah.
But if and only if the possibility is, hey, Edmonton's goaltending still sucks and they're costing them some games, and Connor McDavid's going to turn around and say, this is untenable. I'm out of here.
I'm good.
Totally wild situation, but it still could happen.
They could add too. They could easily add with this contract too.
Of course, that's what. Yeah, they could add another defenseman to be kind of the back end guy, and they could add an actual quality goaltending. I mean, to say Detroit, say for instance Detroit, as you mentioned, we don't know what they are. Like we saw them. I thought they were going to take the leap last year. It didn't. They flopped. What if Detroit has the season from hell, and John Gibson is available for the taking at the trade deadline?
Ooh.
I take that in a minute.
Oh, I just got a nasty idea.
I will say only because Anaheim would not trade him because it's in division.
No. I'm not saying Anaheim. I'm saying a team that is way further up north than Edmonton. Let's say I don't know, Winnipeg. Let's say the Jets. I don't know. Let's just throw this out there. Highly unlikely this happens. But if Edmonton were to call the Jets and say, "Hey, Connor Hellebuyck, is he available?" Can you imagine if Connor Hellebuyck went to the Oilers?
I wanted.
The Jets don't work without McDavid. The Oilers don't work. That'll never happen.
No, they would have to deal Draisaitl in a couple of pieces as well
First
to get to make that deal. It's also in conference. Look, I thought Connor Hellebuyck was going to be a New Jersey Devil a few years ago when Winnipeg absolutely tanked their season.
And I don't know where they
Paul Maurice said,
what was it, $7.5 million each?
Yeah. And Paul Maurice said, "I'm out of here. Like, I can't coach this team. I'm done." Once I go into Florida, I thought Winnipeg was going to blow it up, and Connor Hellebuyck would be a New Jersey Devil right now. Doesn't work that way in the NHL because, hey, that's the way things go. But we got to move on, guys.
Yeah.
Couple other stories to look at this year. Alexander Ovechkin, he marches towards 900 goals. He's three away from 900 goals. Enze Kopitar, his last season as a Los Angeles King and also in the National Hockey League, legend. And also we got some emerging stars out there. We got Connor Bedard. Hopefully he breaks through this year. The aforementioned Kirill Kaprizov, Marco Rossi, the Hughes brothers, not just Jack, but also Luke, who signed a long-term deal with the Devils last week, and Quinn over in Vancouver. Let's see if they're actually going to conclude their careers together somewhere. It'll probably be New Jersey because Luke has signed a long-term. But let's talk about team highlights, gentlemen. Let's talk about some of the teams that are kind of standing out to you. We've got some contenders out there. Florida is a contender. Edmonton, a contender. Carolina, we've talked about. Dallas, kind of under the radar. We got some bubble teams like Buffalo. Could they end their playoff drought? Minnesota, Kaprizov, Marco Rossi, they're all locked in. The Utah Mammoth. Now they're not the Utah hockey team anymore. They are now the Utah Mammoth. By the way, I don't know if you guys seen those uniforms yet. They are
beautiful.
Something special. Those look clean.
Simple, good, nice.
Clean as hell.
Right.
And we also
I quite like those, yeah.
Yeah. And we also got some teams on the decline as well. Washington, you could say, but we talked about that last year. We said I thought Washington was on the decline. Obviously, they were not. They won the Metropolitan Division going away. Pittsburgh, maybe Los Angeles Kings in the future. But let's talk about some teams that maybe are on your radar to either be a cup contender or have a breakout season this coming year. So, Dan, let me start with you. I think I know where you're going for your team to break out this year, but that's just me.
Well, I was going to say the Islanders in the Eastern Conference.
Hold on.
Go for it. I know you.
Homer alert.
Well, hold on. Let me get a minute to defend myself real quick because, the Islanders last year were the most injured team in the entire NHL for a good majority of the season, and they added a good breadth of young talent like Emil Heineman, who they got from the Dobson trade. Thanks, Montreal. We greatly appreciate that. Who that kid could rip it. And Matthew Schaefer, the first overall pick, made the team, but that's actually not my team that I think is going to break out this year. I'm going to go all the way to Southern California. San Jose. San Jose's got something brewing over there.
Oh,
San Jose has a lot of good young talent over there.
Interesting.
Celebrini, Will Smith. They got Michael Mesa with the second overall pick.
Be careful. He might slap you.
Nice. Anyway, so
I don't have a cricket button. Sorry.
Well done. I'll give you the cricket button one of these days.
Thank you.
But San Jose, at least not yet, they have something brewing over there. They really do. And because of the young talent that's over there, I mean, I'm trying to keep it as unbiased as possible without saying the Islanders, but I feel The fan base over here on Long Island is really unoptimistic. I'm the opposite. I'm weirdly optimistic because the Metro Division are the maybe the Devils, Carolina, Washington. It's okay. But San Jose and the Islanders, those I think they're going to break out this year.
All right. Brent, about you? Contenders, breakout teams, what you looking at?
I actually think that because I'm a goalie hugger from way back. Like I used to be dumb enough to don the pads and everything else years ago.
You're a special fraternity and sorority.
It's different. So I'm a goalie hugger. I actually think the Columbus playing goal is dumb. It's actually child abuse, like in my opinion. But that's another story for another day. But I think the Columbus Blue Jackets get over the hump a little bit. They were right there last year, missed the playoffs by I think 2 or 3 points last year, and it's tough. And they kind of went through the Johnny Gaudreau thing and everything else, not downplaying it, but we're trying to move on. But they got a goaltender now that might get a lot more starts, and he's really, really good in Jet Grieg. I just think they have a shot of doing something. They score enough goals, but they never had, and they have Merstikin in net, Elvis there. But I think that the Columbus Blue Jackets are going to find, and I'm not saying they're winning a cup. I'm not saying they're going to go with the top dogs, but they'll be interesting. They might get out of that mediocrity range that Columbus has been in forever. And they have been. Like they've been there. Like
proceeds to win the President's Trophy.
But Ryan, you might be like, I don't know how long they've been in the league because they've been so mediocre over the years. Because I still think Ottawa is an expansion team, and they've been around 40 years.
Yeah,
right? So you know what I mean. So I don't know how long these guys have been around because they've been so mediocre.
2000.
Like they got some really good players there in Columbus, and they might find a way to get themselves in the playoffs. I never have, and this is going to break your heart a little bit there, Ryan. But I know you're a Devils fan, but up there in your neck of the woods, I just never have faith in the Buffalo Sabres to do anything. It's been 14 years. I just like. You have players asking to leave. You have players not wanting to go there.
When's the pain gonna stop?
So I just don't have any faith in them. That's why I can say they got good young talent in Buffalo, but I just think that Columbus, if someone's going to jump into a playoff spot, because I don't think that there's a lot of playoff teams from last year who aren't non-playoff teams this year. 1, 2, maybe in each division, maybe. But I think Columbus has an actual shot at doing it. They got some guys who can score some goals, and they got a goaltender now.
Yeah, the Buffalo Sabres. I'm a New York Jets fan, so we're on the same level in terms of drought. And I did put out a poll a couple months ago asking who was going to break their playoff drought first, the Buffalo Sabres or my New York Jets. And I think people know I was a Jets fan, so a lot of them voted for Buffalo. But I think Buffalo will crack it. Will crack the playoff drought sometime. And I agree with you. I agree with before the Jets for sure, because that's another program. I didn't know this show. I didn't know this.
Ryan, Ryan, I don't have a dog in the fight, a horse in the race. When it comes to the NFL, I watch it, but every week we've known each other for a couple of years now, I feel for you. I really do. I'm like, oh, they're gonna do this again.
Yep, they're gonna break hearts and don't care, and the owners don't care. But no, I agree. I think Buffalo. We keep saying Buffalo.
I have an abusive relationship with the Jets.
Yeah, pretty much. No, I mean we keep saying this every year though. Ever since they last made the playoffs in 2011, this team's going to break out. This team's a young team. They're hungry. They're going to break out, and things seem to never come together. They never come to fruition. They just don't. They don't seem to gel. I like you said, Brent. There's some great talent on that team. Tage Thompson, man, what a goal
hell of a player!
What a beauty.
Really good player.
Was the winning goal scorer in the United States' first ever World Championship gold medal this past year. Yeah. Won on Memorial Day of all days.
Delightful.
Yes, but just can't seem to put things together. As for me, I'm gonna say it.
Where's the button?
No. It's not Homer Alert. It's not Homer Alert. I'll talk about the Devils in a few segments, but I think Utah could be a playoff team this year.
Yup.
I said it. I said it. I think
Yup.
look, and Logan Cooley, his situation. I guess they're talking. There are talks for contract extension for him. The only thing is, unlike their situation in Arizona, they've got money to do it now.
I was about to say they got money over there in
Smith
Utah.
family is loaded for bear, and they can afford to pay the players that are developed. They're drafted, developed, and play there for a while, and they've got a fan base that is. Utahns support their teams.
That's a great fan base over there in Utah also.
Absolutely.
That's
Absolutely.
a great city.
And that's a good point, drafting and developing, because then the guys can get to – then you're fighting for somebody. Like you're playing with somebody, you're riding the bus in the minor leagues or whatever it might be, and it's just different, right? And you get it. I talk this all the time, but you have so many kids who don't play for a team anymore in their community, and they just play for travel teams, blah blah blah. But when you can draft and develop, and guys get to know each other a little bit, and you're battling for guys, you have to add a free agent here and there to make your team better. But if you have a core of guys that fight for each other a little bit, know each other a little bit, I think that's huge. I think it's massive in the world of professional sports.
They also made a massive trade this time last year for Mikhail Sergachev from Tampa Bay. Yep. We're not even mentioning that over in Utah because he's a dang good player as a defenseman in Utah.
Yeah, if they can stabilize their goaltending, I think they'll make a run.
Oh, please!
It's funny how everybody wants a goalie, hey, and there's only so many, and that's why some guys get overpaid a little bit as goaltenders because there's just not enough. And I like I said earlier on, I'm a goalie hugger, but there's just not enough guys. There's a lot of guys who that pucks hit them, but there's not many good to mid level goaltenders nowadays. See, they're just big guys that pucks hit them. Like there's when you get a good guy, pay him.
See, you say that, and then you're the Rangers who have had 2 Hall of Fame goaltenders in the last 20 years. Well, arguably 2 Hall of Fame. Lundqvist definitely is a Hall of Famer, but then you get the situation that the Rangers are in constantly where they overpay for a goaltender and then their offense and defense stink because they're relying on this all-star goaltender to just bail them out every game.
Yeah.
So do you want that level of goaltending or do you want to be the Rangers? Let's be honest here, ladies and gentlemen.
You look when Vegas won the Stanley Cup with Aiden Hill.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, that's Vegas. They cheat.
Hi, Aiden.
Hey, whoa.
Right, and so if your front end can make up for your back end, but a good goal, I've said this 1,000 times. You show me a good goalie, I'll show you a good coach. Pretty simple.
Yeah. That's true. Bruce Cassidy's a dang good coach.
Yep. Right. So is Paul Maurice. So is John Cooper down in Tampa. So
I'm still salty about those 2 Eastern Conference Finals appearances.
You know, we talked about it when we were talking about the Oilers with Skinner.
Yeah.
If they had, is Aiden Hill, does he win them a cup? Probably not.
Nope.
but he's also got a stellar lineup, and he had a stellar lineup in front of him too.
And I laugh at I don't want to go back to David. I'm going to. McDavid's not.
Come to the dark side, Brent. We have cookies.
No, but everybody christens him the next coming of everything. He's not to not blame a little bit for not winning a cup. Like he wasn't great in those 2 Stanley Cup finals. Like he had some great numbers, everything leading up to that, but he got out-checked by Florida. Florida played great defense against him and shut him down. Mm-hmm. So he's not to blame, but you can't not blame him a little bit. Like it's just a funny, like I'm not blaming Connor McDavid for anything.
No,
at all. But I'm just saying that.
But it's the rest of the lineup around him that has to step their games up. With the dry saddle, he's always stepping things up.
The Leafs fan in you is like, just
yeah. Well, that's another story.
Before we go on to the next segment, boys, the key projections for the salary cap. I forgot to mention this in the last segment. Key projections for this year, it's 95.5. Next year, it's 104. 27-28. 113.5 mil for the salary cap. It's crazy.
When are we going to see the first $20 million a year player?
It would have been yesterday.
It's going to be Connor McDavid. It would have been yesterday. Exactly, Brent. It would have been yesterday, but it's coming. It's coming. All right. It's coming. All right. Our last segment before we go to commercial break, the Olympic break. We have an Olympic break this year, fellas. The NHL's back from February 7th through 24th. There will be no NHL games. There's going to be a substantial schedule crunch. There can be more back-to-backs this year than we've seen in previous years since the last time the NHL participated in the Olympics. National pride versus NHL risk. You got Connor McDavid, Austin Matthews. I put Sasha Barkov in the rundown, but we can take his name off the list. Sidney Crosby. Which players have most to gain? We've got injury risks. What happens if a star comes back hurt? It's a momentum reset. Teams that get hot towards the break, they have the momentum stopped, and what they can't get back on the horse. And the post-Olympic sprint, could we see the standings flip dramatically after the Olympics? I'm excited. I'm personally excited for the Olympics because we had over the summer, we had the first 6 announced for every single team that is participating in the Olympics. Some teams loaded for bear with NHL talent. Nations like Italy, France. Italy is the host nation, so they get an automatic in. But France, you don't see too many NHLers come from France. But hey, we got some guys on the list who are still NHLers. Same with Italy. But you got nations announcing their first 6, and with Sasha Barkov being out for the season, supposedly, he's not going to be playing for Team Finland. So that's a name off the list right there. So as you could say the prominent nation in the world of hockey, Brent, is it worth the risk for the rest of your season to play for your national team in February?
As a hockey fan, I love it. I mean, I remember back in '98, the first one they did with Gretzky, and they lost to the Czech Republic one with Hasek in net, and it was fantastic drama, the whole thing.
Yep.
In 2002, Canada won. In the 2010, Canada beat the U.S. in Vancouver. It's always phenomenal.
It still hurts.
It was great. And then just this past February, the Four Nations face-off was unbelievable hockey. There was a little bit of drama on the different side of things. We won't get into that added to the event, but best on best, no matter what sport, it's great. And I don't think anybody does it better than hockey, because I think it's the only sport that can do it. Football can't do it because people in Czechoslovakia aren't playing football. Czechoslovakia doesn't exist anymore, Brent, but you know what I mean? It's just they don't have that opportunity, right? And I think hockey does it the best. Basketball does it pretty good, but basketball is basketball, so whatever. But hockey does it best. I think it's great. As an owner, they make some money off it, but I would personally, if I was an owner, I'd hate it. Because you remember, Dan, you might remember this, back in 2014, Tavares got hurt playing for
team.
And he got hurt, and they were in a playoff hunt going into February, and then all of a sudden your best player
towards ACL.
Yeah, and he's done. And then so as an owner, you're making a little bit of money off royalties from the licensing when the NHL goes there, but I'd rather have my building full in March and April, and maybe into May. So I think it's great. The game is better for it in general, but the National Hockey League, I think it kind of suffers for it, because all of a sudden the games. Because I remember after Four Nations face-off this year, the hockey was like, okay. Like it wasn't. The pace was so slow in comparison, and the competitiveness was so slow in comparison. And you're like, all right, and now you see like Matthew Tkachuk, and he played a little bit in the playoffs last year, but he's still out with an injury he got last year in that tournament. I think it's great for the game, but if I was an owner, I wouldn't like it. I wouldn't like it at all. The way it's, because I'm paying you. I'm paying you a lot of money, and we're not prorating your salary. I'm paying you a ton of dough to bring a championship or to put butts in the seats in my building. I don't care if Team USA or Team Canada, Team Sweden, Team Switzerland, whoever. I don't care who wins. it's a business, and that's what people tend to forget, that it's a business. It's great hockey every time. Best on best it's great, but if I was an owner, I wouldn't like it at all. I wouldn't.
Dan,
Took the words right out of my mouth, Brent. Took the
All
words
right,
right out of my mouth.
Moving on. No, I'm just kidding. No. Let's. I want to get your take. Like, what do you think of this? Is the risk worth the reward?
For pride, sure, but for long-term success for your team, for the season, I don't know. I mean, because Brent, you reminded me when Tavares tore his knee up in 2014. We were playoff contenders here on Long Island, and then he tore his knee up, and then the team just took a nosedive real fast. But I don't know. I think the NHL is trying to, and the Olympics are trying to build off of the Four Nations face-off, where it's like, hey, the Four Nations did worlds of success, pun intended, but at the same point, the NHL hasn't been in an Olympic competition since 14. Okay, so what are you going to get? We have no idea, but I think it's one of those things where you throw a dart at a dartboard and see what sticks, kind of ordeal. So, Brent, you stole my point, but
no, but Ryan, I'll ask you. Like, let's just say if you have a fringe hockey fan who, or not even a fringe hockey fan, and all of a sudden, say Team USA does they probably get a silver medal. You guys got that one. They get a silver medal.
To Sweden?
And then probably.
Challenge accepted.
Don Cherry said it best years ago. You know why Sweden never wins? Too many sweets. But
Heyo.
Hey.
But let's say you're fringe hockey fans, and all of a sudden Team USA wins themselves a gold medal, and all of a sudden the rah shish boom ba USA. All of a sudden, he brings a few more people into New Jersey to watch the Hughes boys play. It doesn't.
Yeah,
hurt,
that's
right?
the thing.
What do you think about that, Ryan? Like it doesn't hurt, but it doesn't help.
Look, there's two key moments in USA hockey history that launched more than 1,000 hockey players. 1980, Miracle on Ice. That generation grew up and became the winner of the 1996 World Cup of hockey. That generation stood off. Love that tournament. I saw the VHS tape of the gold medal game in Montreal.
Mike Richter was unbelievable that tournament.
Richter stood on his head. And I remember the fans at the Bell Center lustily booing Brett Hull every time he came on the ice. Every time he came on the ice.
I love it.
But that 1996 tournament team launched more. And they became a 2010 team that won the silver medal. That was a heartbeat away from winning a gold medal in Vancouver. If the United States wins gold in Milan in February, we're going to see another generation of hockey players.
Shot. They're just good, if not better, in Canada.
Like they got
Jordan Bennington doesn't make a couple of great saves in overtime. That Four Nations thing, awesome game. Like it was unbelievable drama, the whole thing, and there was
absolutely
stuff. We won't get into that, but it was awesome.
That's the thing. Yeah, when international play is on, it's must-see TV, and the ratings are through the roof at that point. Through the roof.
Yeah. Nobody's going to outpace Canada in terms of hockey players. But
no.
The United States, if they win gold in Milan, we won't catch up to Canada, but we're going to come pretty close. It
used to be Canada, Russia, and then the U.S. took over that, and then like the World Junior Tournament's huge up here in Canada. But like you guys are catching up to watch that down in the States a lot. But that New Year's Eve game that I don't know why TSN got away from that. But that New Year's Eve game every year, that's must-see TV. And like I'm out here Mountain Standard Time, so that game starts at 6:00, and that just gets things rolling for New Year's Eve, right? And and so international hockey is great, and the Olympics are going to be fantastic, and you just hope nobody gets hurt. And then, like,
Yeah.
let's say for the sake of conversation, because what podcasts are, if McDavid goes down, then what? Like, sure, you have insurance on his contract, but it doesn't have insurance on ticket sales. It doesn't have insurance on this. It doesn't have. So if I was an owner, I'd be like, nope, you're coming down with something.
Yeah.
On February 10th.
You're coming down with God knows what disease.
Yeah, because I don't want you playing. You know, and because you could get hurt at any time in a regular season game too. But as long as you get hurt playing for me, I'm all right with that. If you get hurt playing for somebody else, there's a reason why they have the in their contracts, you can't go snow skiing, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this.
The Kawhi Leonard clause. Their contract.
The Aaron Boone
you can't
clause.
plant trees. You can't. Yeah, the Kawhi Leonard.
You can't play. You can't play pickup basketball.
Yeah.
The Kawhi Leonard clause is such a great contract detail.
Oh my gosh.
Load management.
Free planner.
Load management. I despise that term. This is not a basketball program. So
yeah.
Let's read out. Let me give you this.
I got you with that one.
Let me give you the first 6 from every team. This was going back to June. This was when it was determined. So, United States, Austin Matthews, the brothers Kachuk, Brady and Matthew, Jack Eichel, Quinn Hughes, Charlie McAvoy. Canada, Sidney Crosby, Connor McDavid, Nathan McKinnon, Cale Makar, Braden Point, and Sam Reinhart. For Latvia, Rodrigo Abols, Abols, Juvis Baslinskis, Zemgus Girgensons, Elvis Merzlikins, Artur Silovs, and Theodors Blugers. Wow, say all those names 10 times fast.
Teddy Bluger.
Not that one.
Oh, okay.
For Finland, UC Saros, Esa Lindell, Miro Heiskanen, Mikko Rantanen, Sasha Barkov, who is undoubtedly will not play, and Sebastian Aho from the Carolina Panthers, not the New York Islanders. But I'm pretty sure the New York Islanders will allow their Sebastian Aho to play. Sweden, Rasmus Dahlin, Victor Hedman, Adrian Kempe, Gabriel Landeskog, William Nylander, and Lucas Raymond. For Italy, you've never heard of these guys because they don't play in the NHL. I did the research. I looked them all up. They do not play in the NHL. Damian Clara, although at one time or another they could have played in the United States in juniors. Damian Clara, Thomas Larkin, Luca Zanata, Diego Kostner, Tommy Perliter, and Daniel Mentanudo. For Czechia, the artist formerly known as the Czech Republic, David Pasternak, Martin Nichas, Andre Palat, Pavel Zacha, Radko Gudas, and Lucas Dostal. Team Switzerland, Jonas Siegenthaler, Roman Josi, Kevin Fiala, Nico Hischier, Nino Niederreiter, and Timo Meyer. Give me fuel, give me fire. Give me Timo Effin Meyer. For Germany, Leon thank you. Leon Draisaitl, Morris Seider, Philip Grubauer, Lucas Reichel, Nico Sturm, and Tim Stutzla. For Slovakia, Jura Slavkovsky, Martin Pospisil, Simon Nemec, Martin Fehervari, Eric Cernak, and Tomas Tatar. For Denmark, Fredrik Andersen, Nikolai Ehlers, Olivier Bjorkstrand, Jesper Jensen Abo, Lars Eller, and Jonas Ronbjerg. Finally, for France, there are some NHLers in here. Johan Ovitu, Pierre-Edouard Bellemare, Jules Bosk, Hugo Gallet, Jordan Perret, and finally, Alexander Texier from the Columbus Blue Jackets. All right. We're going to take a commercial break. We got plenty more hockey to come in this preview show. Thank you for tuning in to No Credentials Required. We'll be right back in just a moment. So stand by. Stay tuned for more of this NHL preseason show. Hey everyone, it's Ryan from No Credentials Required to talk to you about one of our newest partners at Belly Up Sports, SeatGeek. Yeah, live sports is great on television, but the feeling of being at the arena is a priceless experience. That's why our friends at SeatGeek are there to help you find the best tickets at the best prices. Not only can you get tickets to sporting events, but you can also get tickets to concerts, comedy shows, musicals, and more. Search for your desired event now at SeatGeek.com, enter promo code BellyUpSports at checkout, and you save $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek. Life's an event. We have the tickets. That's right, folks. Thank you, SeatGeek, for being affiliate sponsor of Belly Up Sports and of this particular show. Hockey season's coming. It's on its way. Less than 24 hours. Puck drops in Florida for their title defense. And what better way to get yourself into a hockey arena by using SeatGeek? Their pricing tool gets you the best tickets at the best prices. And what you also want to do, it's not just for NHL. You can also use it for AHL. You can use it for ECHL, which we used this past year. A friend of mine got hockey tickets, and I got to go to an Adirondack Thunder game. They went to SeatGeek. They used promo code BellyUpSports, and they save some cash. So you can do that too. And it's not just hockey games, other sporting events like football, I guess basketball, baseball, playoffs, NCAA, both football and hockey. You can use it for concerts, comedy shows, anything that requires a box office seat. You can find it at SeatGeek.com and use promo code BellyUpSports for $20 off your order of $50 or more. Again, that's SeatGeek.com. Promo code BellyUpSports, $20 off your order of $50 or more. Gentlemen, we got some division by division quick hits we're going to talk about. Let's start off with the Atlantic Division. And we got a lot of questions in regards to the Atlantic Division.
Oh, jeez.
Florida. Will they struggle out of the gate without Kachuk and Barkov? How does Toronto adjust to life after Mitch Marner? Is Tampa Bay starting to age out? Can Detroit finally break through? Does Buffalo break their playoff drought? Is Boston resetting or rebuilding? And then final question: Ottawa? Yeah. And finally, will Ottawa and Montreal repeat last season's unexpected playoff appearances? Brent, I'm going to start with you because Dan and my questions our questions in regard to our metropolitan teams we'll talk about in just a moment. But this Atlantic Division, what's your opinion about this division? I know you're a Maple Leafs fan, but they got other teams in this division that have been competing with them. Toronto won the Atlantic Division last year, but they just can't seem to get through. They can't seem to break through the second round. The narrative was they can't break through the first round. Now they get back to this. They get into the second round. They can't seem to get out of the second round. So, what's your opinion about this division? What's your biggest story going into this season from that division?
Toronto's not a more skilled team, but I think they'll be a better team without Mitch Marner on that squad. He's a bit of a headache. He never really, if you remember last year in the playoffs there, he was yelling at the bench. There wasn't a drop of sweat on that loaf of his when he's yelling at the bench to everybody to wake the F up. That wasn't a very good look on his end. And it was one of those things, you know what, thanks, bye, see ya. We didn't win with you, we'll lose without you, and we'll see what we can do. And I think addition by subtraction for the Leafs is going to make them a better team. Whether that translates onto the ice, I do not know. But you losing 120 points, like I said, or 110, or whatever you had last year, like I said earlier, is going to be hard to replace. But maybe you can have some other guys who might step into that situation with the Leafs. Buffalo, can they jump over the hump? Tage Thompson and the rest? No, they're just. I just don't think that they're better than anybody else. There's just too many holes in these rosters. Detroit, Dylan Larkin can he take that next step and become I don't want to go as far as saying a superstar because it's pretty lofty, but can he get to that next level, be an 8 out of 10 kind of a guy? That's the only way that Detroit can get to that level. Adding a goaltender doesn't hurt. Like I said, goaltending, if you have good goaltending, it helps you. So Detroit's a better team that way. Can they get in? This one I don't understand. Montreal snuck in the playoffs last year, and there's specials up here on TSN and blah 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 all over the place about Montreal Canadiens, and I don't get it. I don't get it. While they're christening them to be the 78 Canadians right now, it's odd to me. It doesn't make a bunch of sense. Martin St. Louis, he's a good coach, but he's a better player than he was a coach. He's a Hall of Famer, but I don't understand why the Canadians are getting this big push around here. I don't get it. Florida's still a team to beat. Will they take a step back in the first month? I don't think so. I don't think so. They're going to score some goals, and they'll be fine. They'll be fine. Tampa is going to take a step back. They're getting old. Tampa's getting old.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. Tampa is getting old, and like the championship windows that these teams have is so small. And then they like the first one was a few years back now, right? So So I think the division is going to be. I think all the teams who made it last year are going to make it, but I don't know if like they're going to jump around. But I think the Leafs will take a step back in division, but they'll be a better playoff team, in my opinion.
Okay, Dan, what's your opinion about this Atlantic Division?
Oh, geez. As I said before, Florida's really good. Everyone else, to me, with the exception of Buffalo, is kind of the same. Toronto, I agree with Brent. I think Toronto's going to get a little better come playoff time. The loss of Mitch Marner come regular season will hurt a little bit, but come playoff time, not so much, because Austin Matthews turned into a pumpkin come playoff time every single stinking time they made the playoffs in Toronto. He's non-existent come playoff time. Neither is, well, mostly kind of John Tavares, but Tampa's getting old. You're right. I think Tampa takes a step back. Boston, we're not even mentioning the Bruins because they're terrible. Ottawa, I kind of see what they're trying to do up there in Ottawa. Montreal, I don't know what they're doing. They're trying to do something. Keyword is trying. I don't know how successful they're doing it. Detroit is the one wild card in this situation because they're either going to improve dramatically or fall apart dramatically. Which one? Flip a coin and see what happens.
Yeah, and the one person who won't suffer from all that is Steve Yzerman. Because if they fire Steve Yzerman, I mean, there's already plenty of riots in Detroit as it is. There's going to be an upheaval in Detroit if they fire Yzerman because the Yzer plan he's trying to put in place in Detroit. Right now, it's not working.
They need a coach badly.
Yeah, but as for my opinion, yeah, Florida's still the team to beat. I think they'll get off to a slow start, at least for the first month. But they've got so much depth. They're so deep in every area, in forwards, defensemen, goaltending. I mean, Bobrovsky, goalie Bob, is always going to be a factor in net for the Florida Panthers. He was last season. I thought he could have won Conn Smythe Trophy if Sam Bennett didn't win, but he's tops in the world right now. It's either him or Vasilevsky in Tampa. But yeah, to your point, Brent, and to your point, Dan, Tampa's getting a skosh older, and you have to wonder how far along this team's going to go with as much depth as they've had, as much age, as long as they've been together. There comes a point where you eventually have to go break it up.
I have a question for you that just popped in my brain, because if the Tampa Bay Lightning decide to blow it up, let's say Tampa falls apart and they decide to go to John Cooper. Okay.
2 years. They just extended John Cooper too.
Okay, that was my question. If they decide to part ways with John Cooper, how many teams are going to fire their coach for John Cooper?
I think Detroit will be the first. I think the first phone call if John Cooper ever gets fired by the Tampa Bay Lightning
is Detroit.
Steve Yzerman.
Detroit, yes.
Steve Yzerman. Yeah, it's going to be him. If that happens,
you'd have to be out of your freaking head to go from Tampa, Florida, at $8 million or $5 million or $2 million, whatever he's making, to Detroit, Michigan. You got to be out of your head.
Hey, it's happened before. Look at Barry Trotz. Look at Barry Trotz. He went from Nashville to Washington.
Won a Stanley Cup with them.
See, point exactly.
And then went to New York. And then went to the island. Almost went to the Stanley Cup.
I'm talking climate-wise. You're out of your
Thanks,
head.
Tampa.
Climate-wise, absolutely.
Not a chance.
Yeah.
Not a chance.
Climate-wise,
yeah. Before I answer that, if
Checkbook.
I see Stevie Y's digits hit my phone on that, I'm like, no, I'm good.
Checkbook. Where's the checkbook when you need it?
Also, there's the tax-free implication, but that's another conversation.
Yeah.
As John Mulaney would say, we don't have time to unpack all that.
Yeah, no, we don't actually, because we're an hour in already.
Hey,
but continuing my point about the Atlantic, Ottawa. I saw Ottawa up close and personal back in January. That team's going to be legit. They're going to be one of the top. They're going to be 1, 2, or 3 for the next decade. I feel. If
great kid's good.
Yes.
I like him. Yeah.
Stutzla's good. Their goaltending. Linus Ullmark was an outstanding addition because Boston had no choice because they wanted to extend Jeremy Swayman. Look how that came out.
Yeah.
Genius, Boston.
Montreal, I'm on the fence about. I like Montreal. I like their story. I like the fact that they got a bunch of scrappy kids. Suzuki, Caulfield. I think Caulfield could win the Richard Trophy this year.
Caulfield has Hart Trophy. Caulfield has the possibility of a Hart Trophy candidate down the road in his career.
Yeah, but I have to wonder about going I wouldn't say all in, but I thought they kind of overextended for Noah Dobson, to be honest.
You think?
but hey, Montreal's for whatever reason they've got some key pieces in regards to their youth, but I don't know if this Noah Dobson's deal is going to bite them in the butt in the long run. You stop your laughing.
2 first-round picks for terrible defensemen.
Anyway, like I was saying, Boston, it's a rebuild. Let's face facts, Boston. It's a rebuild. Even with all the tools you have, even if you have Pasternak, even if you have Jeremy Swayman in goal, even if you have Charlie McAvoy, it's a rebuild. It's a rebuild. Forget it. Detroit, yeah, flip a coin. Like Dan said, flip a coin. They could be great. They also could be terrible. What's going to happen? And Buffalo, again, all the pieces they have, all the youth they've built with, they don't have enough to break this playoff drought. All right, moving on to the Metropolitan. Got lots of questions here. Does the addition of Nikolai Ehlers make Carolina the favorite in the East?
No.
Can I continue?
Sorry.
I'm the host. I'll make you sit. Penalty
Sorry.
box. Go in the penalty box. Does Jack Hughes finally play all 82 games? Does Patrick Waugh last a full season as the Islanders head coach? Will the Rangers get back to the playoffs? Is this Crosby's final season in Pittsburgh? Is this Ovi's final season in Washington? Does Philadelphia tank this season to get McKenna? Then finally, has Columbus solved its defensive woes? Dan, I know you've been champing at the bit. Let's talk about this Metropolitan Division. I'll have you start.
My apologies for chirping in earlier. I got excited, but
clearly,
sorry. Sorry. Carolina is I will believe Carolina is a Stanley Cup contender when I see it. They have not shown me to do anything great come playoff time. When they get to the conference finals and then it's like they turn into a pumpkin. Washington, coaching wise, Spencer Carberry has been a heck of a hire for the Capitals. He's one of the better young coaches you will see in the NHL. It's all of a sudden it's suddenly like, retread head coaches are a bad idea. Who would have thought? Who would have thought about that? Columbus, I'm with you. I believe the Columbus is going to get better. New Jersey. I'm going to choose my words carefully.
You better.
Because I can see Ryan seething with rage. It's okay. It's not that I don't believe in New Jersey. It seems to me that it's majority of the same team up there in northern New Jersey. To how much of the is that going to benefit the Devils? I don't know, because we've seen that in the NHL. You can get away with that in hockey, where you bring back a majority of the same guys, the less turnover in the team, the better. But I don't know how much of that is going to be the benefit of the Devils, sort of in the return of, hey, is this going to be a bad thing for New Jersey? The Rangers, they're a mess. Let's skip them because the Rangers are a mess. Philadelphia is, I think they're in the fun stages of the rebuild where they're going to be tough to play against. Rick Tocchet's a great hire as their head coach. I don't know if they're going to be in the tank for Gavin McKenna, but they're going to be tough to play against. I don't think the wins are going to stack up in Philadelphia. Pittsburgh's the worst team in this division. Pittsburgh's the worst team in this division. And then you get to the Islanders. What the heck are they doing up there? But how are they going to improve, or how are they going to finish this season? Schaefer making the opening night roster is big because it shows Matthew Darche knows what he wants to build in this team. I was very curious when they signed Jonathan Drouin. The Noah Dobson trade made sense because he's a liability on defense. Montreal, thank you for your 2 first-round picks. We will use that delightfully. If the Islanders stay 100% healthy, but the Islanders also were terrible on special teams. 31st on penalty kill, 31st on the power play last season. If they are in the middle of the pack, they're going to be tougher. They're going to be a lot tougher to beat this season. I'll rest my case there.
All right, Brent.
You're not going to see a Stanley Cup champion coming out of the Metropolitan Division, in my opinion. So let's just I'll make a couple quick points about the Metro. I think Philadelphia made a mistake by hiring, and this is going to sound ridiculous, but I think they made a mistake by hiring a gritty guy like Rick Tocchet, because they're going to win too many games and they're not going to be good enough. And they should go out and get a guy like McKenna. I think that was a big problem because Tocchet was they didn't get much more gritty than that guy. He was a gamer wanting to win hockey games. But I think the biggest storyline coming out of that division, and I've been saying this for 3 years now, that Sidney Crosby's finally going to move on from the Pittsburgh Penguins. I think that's it, because over the summer it was never a story, and now it's like he's open to it. I think he's doing himself and the Pittsburgh Penguins a disservice by staying there, because he might score 80 points and win too many games. And he's that good, and he should have a chance to win another Stanley Cup. The guy's been an ambassador like no one's business to the game of hockey, not just in Canada, but in the United States. And I don't want to say he saved it in Pittsburgh, but he saved it in Pittsburgh after Lemieux was done. And I think that's probably going to be the biggest story. Now that McDavid signed his deal today, that's going to be the biggest story throughout hockey in the coming months ahead. That Sidney Crosby is going to be going, and I think he ends up with his buddy from Cole Harbour, Nova Scotia, Nathan McKinnon out in Colorado. That's my thought. And we said it earlier on with the McDavid contract at 12.5 is tradable. 8.7 is even more tradable.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to be the biggest story in hockey in that Metropolitan Division, in my opinion. Ovechkin gets 900 by next Thursday. And then
if he does that, I'm going to send you some gear from Royal Retros. and then promo code CREDHEAD at checkout for 10%.
And that'll be it. And then that'll be it for him. I think once he gets that, if he would have hit 9, I think but he scored 44 goals last year.
Yeah.
Right, and that's a lot.
Yeah, and he came back from a broken freaking leg.
Shout out to Greg Jennings.
Yeah, there's my thoughts on the Metro Division.
All right, my thoughts on the Metro Division. Rangers, they stink. Let's just face facts. They did all that cap clearance to Anaheim and other destinations because they had their hopes set on signing Connor McDavid in free agency. That's not going to happen. I'm sorry, Rangers fan. He's never coming to New York. Philadelphia, I think they're in tank mode. And here I'm putting my I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on, gentlemen.
Do it.
Philadelphia winds up with the worst league in the NHL, or worst record in the NHL this year. They'll have the top chance to win the lottery. Buffalo somehow sneaks in When's the number one pick? I think it Gavin McKenna because the Pagulas have their way with trying to fix the odds because he's at Penn State, $700,000 worth or allegedly more to sign with the Nittany
I've
Lions.
actually heard more now, Ryan, around because Massachusetts up the road. I've heard it's more than that now.
And by the way, our discussion about that from I think August is on No Credentials Required on on this channel. We talked about Brent, myself, Brent, and Kevin from Seahawks Sessions and other fine programs on Belly Up Sports talked about that.
I heard it's more than that now. Yeah.
I don't know doubt. I have no doubt. Yeah, Philly finishes last in the NHL. Doesn't win the Gavin McKenna sweepstakes. Islanders, I don't know what to make of the Islanders. It's a solid team when they're healthy, but when they're not healthy, look out.
You're not wrong.
As far as Patrick Waugh surviving the season, correct me if I'm wrong, Dan. Does his contract end this year or next year?
I believe it's next year. Because he was the interim when Lane Lambert got fired.
Okay. Well, if things don't work out, he can go back to the Quebec Rempart and jump on that bandwagon. Win another Memorial Cup. Sorry, Brent.
Yeah.
Well, they played hard. They played really hard with him as head coach.
Oh, I don't doubt that, but I just have a
don't
feeling
understand
Matthew
why
Dark's
he
going to bring a
wants
guy
that
in.
job. Like what I like he's competitive spirit, I guess. I never understood why these guys who are Hall of Famers and especially in hockey, it's more than other sports. I don't understand why they want that job. Like
I can tell you,
Derek Jeter isn't taking
too.
the Yankees job, and Tom Brady ain't taking the Patriots job. You know what I mean? And they're comparable to the like. I never understood why hockey players.
Well, you can't really do it when you're part owner of the Raiders anyway. But Dan, go ahead. What's your
Patrick Waugh was
point?
a move. That was a Lou Lamoriello hire. When that was Lou's last ditch effort to go get a great head coach, and Patrick Waugh is not the worst hire he could have made. They could have gone out and get, I don't know, Ken Hitchcock out of retirement again, but they didn't. So they got Patrick Waugh, which was.
But to hire a goalie who coached 150 games in junior hockey, it's just odd to me. I've never understood it.
Well,
why a guy would want that job?
Well, I would have said that because the Montreal Canadiens job was taken, but I don't know if he's kissed and made up with the Canadiens. So I don't know if he has or not, but I doubt it.
Yes, Kevin, the Dodgers won. We saw.
Go away, Kevin. Enough for your Dodgers.
Go to your room, Kevin.
Go to your room, Kevin. Aren't you in Wyoming right now? Or is he back?
No, he's actually back.
All right. And he did redeem himself by getting himself some actual Tex-Mex or Mexican food, not Chili's.
Yeah, Kevin.
Anyway, back to the Metropolitan Division.
Anyways.
New York Rangers are trash. Flyers are also trash. Islanders, I think they're kind of meddling. Pittsburgh, they're on their way to a rebuild. As much as I love, and look, I talked about Evgeny Malkin on No Credentials Required. Ding. On Saturday or Friday show, the Saturday show,
yeah.
that was pre-recorded, and his story about him coming to in the United States. He's gonna be 40 next year. I couldn't believe it when I saw his age. I'm like, he's 39 right now. I'm going, wow, can't believe he's 39. But I think Crosby will also be on the move.
Sid the kid ain't a kid anymore.
He ain't a kid anymore either. But like you, Brent, I think he'll be on the. I think Crosby will be on the move. But I still stand by my take from a couple of years ago when I said he'll be in a Montreal Canadiens uniform by the end of his career because of his history in the Q.
Maybe
that's just me. That's just my opinion. Which brings us to the last three teams in the Metro. Washington. I don't think they'll repeat last year's performance where they came out of basically freaking nowhere to win that division.
Completely. Yeah.
They were surprised. We talked about it on Three Rails Metro Hockey Podcast. Like we talked about them maybe being a middling team to maybe a last place team. And all of a sudden Spencer Carberry's got these guys playing like their hair's on fire every single night.
Coaching matters.
Coaching matters. You hear that, New York Jets? Coaching matters. But yeah, I think this is another group similar to the Tampa Bay Lightning, where everybody, the core of this group is getting older, but they've also developed well. They've always developed well. The Hershey Bears in the AHL, which is their farm system, typically wind up in the Calder Cup discussion every single year.
That is odd, and that's been for 100 years now.
Yeah, it's been for forever. I remember watching them when the Albany River Rats were in town and the Albany Devils were in town. By the way, shout out to Shane Gillis for saying the Albany River Rats should be back in the MVP arena down in Albany. But it comes down to two teams. It comes down to, I'll play it. Excuse me. Homer alert.
There you go.
It's coming down to the New Jersey Devils, and it's coming down to the Carolina Panthers. Carolina Hurricanes. Oh, God, got football in the mind.
That's a fine.
Fine for me. Ding. Carolina, I think they could possibly represent the East if things go well. If they can get some depth scoring. This is what bothers me with both the Devils and the Hurricanes. Hurricanes and the Devils are very similar in playing style, in structure, in goaltending, although I think New Jersey has a better goaltending. But Carolina remains healthy, and the Devils don't. The Devils also have a lack of scoring, a lack of bottom six scoring. Even though they picked up Curtis Brown in the offseason from Edmonton, they still lack depth scoring. That's going to be their problem for the entire year. They're going to have to rely on Heischer, on Jack Hughes, and on Jesper Bratt for the entire season again. But in order for them to get to the next step, they need to have better bottom six scoring. Also, they need to stop meeting Carolina in the playoffs. So, I think Carolina wins this division. I think New Jersey can challenge them like they did a couple of years ago. That's just my humble opinion. All right, we're moving on to the Central. Got some big questions in the Central. Is Winnipeg truly Canada's best hope to break the Cup drought?
Oh, please.
Let me continue. Does Colorado have enough to get out of the first round? Does Dallas get past the conference final? Will Kaprizov, I wrote this beforehand, but will the Kaprizov extension boost Minnesota? Are Nashville and Utah playoff dark horses? Is there any hope in Chicago? And will St. Louis repeat last season's miracle run to the playoffs? Brent, Central Division.
Until Winnipeg does it, they haven't. If that makes any sense.
That makes sense.
It's not. My English teacher might not like how I said that, but until they just haven't, and so and they just haven't proven they can do it. They haven't done anything. They've been to the one conference final. I think it was in 2017 or 18. I think it was.
It was 2018 Vegas.
Vegas, yeah. And so and they haven't done anything. Final. Like they lit the world on fire. And Hellebuck was this, and Hellebuck's that, and he's the guy who was supposed to take in the promised land and lose in the first round. And so until they do it, so I have no faith or believe in them that they can do it. Dallas, real good, but they're aging as well. Mm-hmm. Like they're getting a little long in the tooth as well. They have a great goaltender in Ottinger, but they're getting a little long in the tooth. So I think they're kind of getting past their prime. Chicago, as far as Chicago goes, we were going to talk like earlier on. The script was talking about guys who to step it up. If Connor Bedard doesn't this year, then when? Like I'm starting to think he might. I don't want to say a bust, but he was so highly touted coming out of Regina, and he's been on a really bad team, and that's why I've always said with these teams that are so bad and they get these kids, because kids are different now. It's not like they got Eric Lindros out of Oshawa. They got a kid who's small, which Bedard is. And so I don't know if he's that kind of a guy, and he was so highly touted. I just don't know if he's got it. I don't know if he'll be an Olympic guy, and Chicago is going to be awful again. And to have a losing culture that Chicago's got, it hurts. But actually, you know what? I just forgot about this. Jonathan Toews ending up in Winnipeg would have been great, but Toews got hurt already.
Oh no!
Right? And that breaks my heart because I think Toews is a great. He's a Hall of Famer. On and on and on it goes. Captain Canada, the whole bit. The Kaprizov thing in Minnesota, I don't get it. Like it's that one. If he was to be walking across the street in front of my house, I wouldn't know who the guy was. And for him to get that kind of money, and then to say a week before, I don't want that, and then to get $8 million more a week later, like I was like, all right, man, like okay. It's odd to me. And I want to hear you said you maybe know something that Jesse said, Jesse Pierce, but I don't get that deal. It doesn't make Minnesota better. They're the same team. Minnesota's been the same team since they came in the league. They've done nothing. Yeah. And so, Nashville, I think should be better, but are they a playoff team? Nashville underachieved, and I think that's the first coach in the hot seat for sure.
To understate it, Nashville definitely underachieved for sure.
Yeah, so there's my take on Winnipeg should be better, but until they do something, I don't believe they will.
Okay.
Like I have no faith in them at all. None.
Yeah, I mean they got boat raced in St. Louis in those 3 games.
Yeah.
And almost dropped it at home in Game 7. I mean, that would have been a huge letdown for Winnipeg. There would have been torches and pitchforks and God knows what else thrown around after that game.
Pierogies and Kubasov beating each other in the head. Ukrainians out in Manitoba there. It's not crazy. They're weird out there.
Save your food for eating, not for fighting.
That's
Dan,
right. For good, not for evil.
Central Division. What you thinking?
Oh, I can speak now? Okay, cool. Chicago is bad. The Blues are just there. Nashville's just there. Colorado, I think, is going to take a bounce back and reclaim the Central.
Yeah.
Followed by a toss-up between Winnipeg and Dallas for second and third. I think Nashville's going to get better somehow. I don't know. I got a weird feeling about Nashville that they're trying for something. I don't think they're a playoff team, but I think 3 or 4 teams are going to split in the Central between Colorado, Dallas, Winnipeg, Minnesota's in there somewhere. Because you forget, Minnesota was on fire until Kirill Kaprizov went down. Kirill Kaprizov could have won the Hart Trophy had he not went down with his injury. They would have won he would have won the Hart Trophy. He was on that well of a pace for the Wild. Now, whether or not that translates to playoff time, who the heck knows?
When Colorado gets Crosby, look out.
Yes, I am with Brent on this train here.
All right, my turn. Chicago. There's no hope in Chicago, at least for the time being. And I remember the game that I went to New Jersey a couple of years ago to see Connor Bedard. Got his jaw broken in the second period, didn't return. So what a letdown there. But yeah, he's got to get. I know he's a hell of a competitor. He's got the fire in his belly, but he's gonna be the Jack Hughes of the Western Conference. He's talented. He's a great scorer, but he's just small. And he's gonna get beaten up, especially in the conference where they got some big fellas over there.
If you look at a guy like McKinnon, it's just a train. He's a train going through. He's like, get out of my way, kid.
Yeah. But Chicago, this is a team that is going to take at least another year before they get things, at least a year before they get things right. I'll save it for bold predictions. I mentioned Utah. I think Utah could break through as a wild card team because it's the first 3 spots and then the last 2 finishers that are in each division. So it's 6. Then the last 2 spots get in. So I think you could see 5 teams from the Central make the playoffs, and it's going to be Dallas, Colorado, Minnesota, St. Louis, and Utah. I think Nashville just misses out on a playoff spot. As good as Barry Trotz did a job of getting all those players signed last year, Stamkos, Marchessault, for whatever reason, it just didn't work out. It was injuries. It was lack of team chemistry. It was if the defense let them down, goaltending let them down. I'm not sure what happened, but it's going to be at least another year before I think Nashville returns to form. But I think 5 teams will make the playoffs out of the Central this year. As far as Winnipeg goes, like you, Brent, I'll believe it when I see it when they're a true Stanley Cup contender. They got all the pieces. They got all the horses to get far, but they just flounder when it matters the most. And we saw the glimpses of it in the first round. Then they met Dallas, who was a buzzsaw, and they went right through them like a hot knife through butter, and went right through them and went all the way to the conference final, which we got a comment in the comment section from Kevin saying, Stars in the Stanley Cup final. You heard it here first. Yeah, okay. All right, Homer. And Drew, I won't read the full name. Drew says, great pickup was Connor Brown. Horse of a skater, good stick. Yeah, absolutely, for the Devils. So which we'll move on to the last division we're going to look at. Then we'll get to our bold predictions and betting futures, and we'll wrap up the show. The Pacific Division. We got some questions here. And Dan, fermez la bouche. S'il vous plaît. Merci beaucoup. I know what you're doing. See, that's my French. Does Vegas have enough on the back end on defense to go on a deep run? Even with McDavid staying, will the Oilers finally win the Stanley Cup? Can Los Angeles get past the first round? Is it time for a rebuild in Calgary and Seattle? Does Vancouver get back to form? Did Anaheim bring in the right coach and veterans to snap their playoff drought? And final question, can the Sharks break 60 points this season? Lots to talk about in this Pacific Division. It's kind of a mess, to be honest with you. Vegas and Edmonton. I think I'll start here. I'll be the starter here. Vegas and Edmonton, they're a class above, I think, everybody else in that division. Vancouver, I think the JT Miller trade helped in the short term, but they need a full season to kind of get over that. He's the New York Rangers problem now. Although I hear he's the right guy in the locker room there, but couldn't be the right guy in the locker room in Vancouver.
Him and Pettersson didn't get along. No, yeah.
Then none of them get along, and whoever makes the most money gets their choice, gets the win. And Pettersson was the winner there. Seattle, I don't think they'll be a playoff team this year. Same with Calgary. Anaheim, I mean, welcome back Joel Quenneville. He served his time for punishment for the whole 2010 Blackhawks scandal, which lots of the sort of details I'm not going to go into them. But they bring in some veteran guys. They bring in Kreider from the New York Rangers. Whether or not it's going to bring them back to the playoffs, I don't think it will. I don't think it will. They did sign Marchment. Was it Marchment? I can't remember who it was. They signed recently to a long-term deal. Marchment went to Seattle. Sorry, but he's on an expiring. Seattle's got a lot of expiring contracts, so let's put it that way. Calgary, they were a couple steps away from being the playoffs. I don't think that. Even with Wolf as their goaltender, who's going to be a stud. That Dustin Wolf is going to be
real good
stud in this league, and he's an American-born kid doing great in Calgary. But I still think Calgary is a year away. The Sharks. I know, Dan, you said you're high on them. We'll talk to you in a second about them. I think they won't make the playoffs, but I don't think they'll be below 60 points this year. I think they'll be at least 65 because they're at least 65 because Askerov's a good goaltender. We got Dan mentioned Celebrini in the beginning. He's a heck of a player, and he's a skilled.
Real good. Yeah.
Like to see him grow and bring the Sharks back to what they were close to a decade ago. Because remember, this team was in the Stanley Cup final not even 10 years ago, and then they fell on their faces and they're starting to rebuild. So let's go over to Dan. Let's talk about this Pacific Division. What do you see? What do you like? Who do you like? Who don't you like in this division?
Thank God for the roadcaster, because I was muted the whole time.
Hey.
Delightful. Edmonton. I think this is Edmonton's last go around. The Kings are weird. They're really weird. Like
I forgot to mention them. The Kings are weird. Like they're a solid team, but they always encounter Edmonton in the first round.
Well, it's not even just the fact that they're weird. It's like their problem is that they have talent. Their problem is coaching.
Mm.
Jim Hiller, I mean, we haven't mentioned Jim Hiller as the coach for the Kings. Like, he's not been a good hire for the Kings for the last 2 years because coaching matters. Jim Hiller's not a good coach.
Mm.
Calgary, Seattle.
Husk is an outstanding coach.
Yes,
I like him.
Yes,
not because his first name's Ryan, but that's
anyway. Vancouver is interesting because I think Elias Pettersson might be a big time trade discussion.
Apparently, he put on a ton of weight, and he's a player right now. Like he's an actual. Getting rid of Miller was a thing. Like he's actually went to the gym, and he's still fast and skilled, but he put on some weight. So who knows? But yeah, anyway, sorry.
No, you're good. Anaheim, you're a mess. You're just a mess. To me, the Kraken are interesting. I like the Lane Lambert hire, though. I like the hire of Lane Lambert as head coach. Matty Beniers is a superstar in the making. He's really good up there in Seattle. I'm high on the Kraken. I don't think they're a playoff team. I'm Vegas, Edmonton, LA, and San Jose. I'm high on the Sharks this year. I don't think they're going to get 65 points. I think they're going to finish in the 70s, maybe even close to the 80s. I'm really high on the kids that they got on over there in Southern California. Really high on this Victor Eklund.
Northern California, you mean?
Close enough. Anyway,
San Francisco-ish.
Close enough. Like Will Smith is really good. Celebrini is really. I'm really excited about Michael Misa. He was at one point considered to be the top overall prospect in the draft before, Schaefer got overhyped. And listen, I'm happy for him. He's on the island, but Misa's really good. But to me, it's until proven otherwise, Vegas takes the Pacific, followed by Edmonton and then Los Angeles.
I forgot to mention, it was Mason McTavish who signed an extension in Anaheim. It was 6 years, 42 mil, 7 million AAV. That's a pretty cheap contract, but he's a skilled guy. Brent, talk about the Pacific Division a bit.
I'm high on the Kings to do something, and I couldn't tell you why. Maybe because I'm very big on Drew Doughty still. They got one more. He's got one more, and Anze Kopitar got one more in him to do something. And I think Kemper's just as good a goaltender as anybody else got in that division. He's not great, but he's better than most, and that's what you kind of need. Vegas has talent to burn, but I'm going to love seeing them burn down once Mitchie Marner starts. I hate Marner, as you can probably tell by these conversations. But I'm looking forward to seeing them crash and burn with Marner joining that team. But Vegas got talent, and then you can't dispel. Obviously, you can't dispel Edmonton with McDavid and Draisaitl. Calgary, my mother's a huge Calgary Flames fan, but I'd like to see them win a little bit, but getting in eighth, making the playoffs, I don't think it's good enough. And they're getting a new building there in, I think, 2 years from now. I think it wouldn't be the worst thing for them to find a way to just quite corny, crash and burn as Flames do, and getting a good draft pick and a high pick to go into a new building and a new beginnings, everything else in a couple of years. So that's my thoughts on that division. But it's going to be Edmonton, like you said, Dan. It's going to be Edmonton. It's going to be Vegas. And it's going to be LA. What order it finishes in, it all depends on who has the lesser of the three evils in that, in my opinion.
Yeah, Vegas to me is the most interesting of the three because
all
know Alex because they have the most talent, but I'm kind of Alex Petrangelo's out for the season. He's got double hip surgery, and who knows if we'll see him on the ice ever again. But I'll be curious to see what they do in the trade during the trade deadline. And we got a very late trade deadline this year too with the Olympics. So I'm curious to see what they do with the trade deadline to shore up that back end. But up front, they're tops. They're top 5 in the league. Up front, top 3. You could argue even with the addition of Marner. So, all right, we're gonna move on. Got a few minutes left before we end things here. Bold predictions. Let's talk about some bold predictions you guys have for the year. So maybe you have a surprise playoff team. Who's going to be the first head coach fired? Any major breakout stars? Could we see somebody unexpectedly score 40 or more goals this year, or go on a Vezina run? You can also give us your hot take of a contender that may miss the playoffs or may make a first-round exit in the playoffs. So, Brent, I'm gonna go over to you. What's your boldest prediction for this season? I know it's a long season. But I don't want to hear your boldest prediction.
I only see one team maybe that didn't make the playoffs last year, so I'll get two birds thrown at once here. But I think the only team that might have a chance of getting in the playoffs that didn't last year in the East and Western Conference is Columbus. I think they're going to score enough goals. They're going to have a better goaltender this year, and they're just better. I think Columbus, but other than that, I don't see a bunch of. I think there'll be some jockeying amongst who finishes first to eighth, but I don't see a bunch of. Because I think this is a whole other story from another. I just think that the talent is so weak on the lower end. Guys coming up from junior and from the minor leagues, so they're all the same guy. I just find teams who are thinking they can rebuild need to change their thought process and need to regroup instead of rebuild, because there's just not a ton of upper echelon talent that can change things around. If that makes any sense. But I think the only thing that can happen, and we should probably have a conversation with that in a couple of weeks and prove me completely wrong, but I think Columbus has an actual shot to do to jump the shark a little bit and do some damage this year.
Yeah, I think if they improve defensively, they definitely have a chance to get over into the wild card discussion. I think, or they could possibly take over one of the top. I think probably either wild card or maybe third in the East in the Metropolitan Division, if depending on how Washington does, depending on how New Jersey does. So, all right, so that's Brent's boldest prediction. Dan, what about you? Your boldest prediction?
Play the button, Ryan. Play the button.
Homer alert.
I have no shame in this. I will take full responsibility. I have no shame in this. Matthew Schaefer wins the Calder. And let's see here.
Hey now.
Hey-o. I think the Islanders make the playoffs.
As a wild card or top 3 in the Metro?
Wild card.
Okay. All right. My bold prediction. I've already kind of made one already in the program. I think Utah's going to be a playoff team. That's my first prediction. That's my first bold prediction. I know we see a lot of websites saying. I saw somebody on Sportsnet. I saw an article today that they said the New Jersey Devils are going to win the President's Trophy. Yeah, I said that too. I'm like, really? Was it New Jersey? Okay, all right, you're a believer. I get it. I mean, I would hope that they never won the President's Trophy.
Ryan's like, tell me more.
Nah. That's usually the kiss of it's a kiss of death when it comes to that kind of stuff. And usually, get the president's trophy curse too. I don't want that on my team.
Yeah, it means nothing.
I don't want that stink on my team. But I'm gonna, you know what? I'll play it. Home alert for myself too. But this is not so much like a playoff prediction or whatnot. I think Jack Hughes, if he remains healthy, finally might have a shot at winning the Hart. He's never played a full
The
season.
only problem you got, though, he might lose to his brother Quinn.
For the Hart?
Like that.
You mean future New Jersey Devil?
Yeah,
New Jersey Devil
that
Quinn
kid's
Hughes?
good. That kid is something to watch.
Yeah, Dan's walking off. Dan's walking away. No, but I'm serious. I mean, serious. Look, Jack Hughes has never played a full 82 games. Well, now it's 84 games this year. Don't forget about that. We've got an 84 game schedule in the NHL this year. So Jack Hughes has never played a full season. The most he's played was 2 seasons ago, when New Jersey was jockeying with Carolina for the Metropolitan Division championship, or the division win, and wound up meeting the Rangers and beating them in 7. But he played 77 games that year. He only missed 5 games. He scored 99 points. And eventually he's going to get the 100. He's going to get the 100-point mark. We're going to finally see a 100-point score for the New Jersey Devils eventually. He's gonna admit that he's gonna win it. But I think if he stays healthy, he becomes a little bit grittier and has that chemistry with his line mates. I think he has the potential to possibly, especially if New Jersey wins the Metro Division, I think he has the potential to be a Hart Trophy winner.
Uh-huh.
I think this could be the season that he does it. That's my bold prediction. Dan's throwing his hands up in the air like what the F? He's silent.
I muted. I forgot I had the roadcaster. It's right. I got nothing. Wow. Listen, I will give you props. Confidence. Listen, you can join me.
Confident.
You can join me on the confidence train. The confidence train is great.
Yeah.
Unlike the BS Express.
No.
Kevin, where's Kevin when you need him?
No, right. Kevin's gone. But that's a bold prediction I have. I mean, I have hope that he'll play at least 75 games this year. And if he does, he'll get 100 points, maybe more, depending on if they can figure out their power play issues, even though they were pretty solid last year, and they get bottom 6 scoring, and the Devils get 100 points in the standings. I think he could possibly be a Hart Trophy winner, a contender, if not a winner. So Connor McDavid be damned, and Leon Draisaitl be damned. All right, we're gonna conclude the program with I guess I'll include it for our degenerate gamblers out there. Betting futures for the NHL in 2025-2026. And these are courtesy of DraftKings. And I made sure I went in before the show began for the latest odds. And here we go. Stanley Cup winner, Carolina, is a plus 750. Now, a couple weeks ago, before the Sasha Barkov injury, the Florida Panthers were a plus 500. That's before the Sasha Barkov injury. So they are your odds-on favorite to win the Stanley Cup this year. Eastern Conference, Carolina is the odds-on favorite to win the Eastern Conference final. Eastern Conference at plus 380. The Western Conference winner, up until today, up until this afternoon, was the Vegas Golden Knights. Now it is the Edmonton Oilers at a plus 400. Division winners at the Atlantic, Tampa Bay is the projected favorite at plus 180. The Metropolitan, Carolina, at plus 120. The Central, the Dallas Stars are the odds-on favorite at plus 205. In the Pacific, again, until this afternoon, it was the Vegas Golden Knights. It is now the Edmonton Oilers at a plus 150. Betting futures in terms of the President's Cup, Carolina again, odds-on favorite at plus 600. And we have some underdog cup odds. The San Jose Sharks and the Chicago Blackhawks. The Blackhawks are plus 50,000.
That's about right.
Yep, according to DraftKings, plus 50,000. And we do have some Olympic gold medal odds as well. Canada is the odds-on favorite at plus 150, followed by the U.S. plus 200, Sweden plus 500, Finland plus 700, although I didn't look to see what the odds were after the Sasha Barkov injury. Czechia, the team formerly known as the Czech Republic, plus 1,100, and Switzerland, who I think, all right, another bold prediction. I think Switzerland could finish a medal winner in the Olympics.
They always in the last 20 years, and have had a very good World Junior, and it's crazy. And they win two, and then they lose they upset somebody. And so all these guys are just are players now. Switzerland's not a bad hockey nation.
No,
I mean 48 people play the game, so whatever. But they always ruffle some feathers throughout the international hockey. So you never know. Yeah.
In the same article that saw the New Jersey Devils predicted as the President's Cup winner, they also predicted that neither the U.S. nor Canada would win gold in Italy. But Switzerland's a plus. Switzerland's a plus. Well, it was sports. It was somebody from Sportsnet. So you figure it out. Switzerland's a plus 1,600 for Olympic gold medal odds. I think those odds would be a lot different if we actually had Russia in the Olympic Games. But politics are politics. Stupid. Russia should be in there.
Yeah.
That's my humble opinion. All right, we're going to wrap things up for the NHL preseason show. Before we get out of here, let me go ahead and let my esteemed guest tell you where they are. So, Dan, tell the good folks at home where they can find you.
Anyway, you can find us on Twitter and at Instagram at Daniel Smooth and at Time to BS Podcast. Clips of the show at Daniel Smooth on TikTok and on the Time to BS Podcast YouTube page on wherever you get your podcasts for full shows. Thumbs up.
All right. Ooh, Brent, how about yourself? Where can we find you?
The 1420 Sports Bar Podcast, 4 Beer Sports Talk, and a whole lot more. Find us on X at _1420, 1420 Sports Bar on Facebook and Twitter. And I'm just happy to have seen the Yankees lose tonight. That's the biggest thing out of this whole take. Go Yankees, go tomorrow night. But I'm looking forward to the hockey season and how it's all gonna come about. So thanks, Ryan. Thanks very much for doing this. It was a great talk with some hockey, and we'll have to do something for sure when the Olympics come rolling through. You seem really excited about this Olympic tournament. That was.
I do.
It's good. It's great. I rambled on about it earlier on, but it's so great. We'll have to hook up and do the big hockey show for the Olympics for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited about the Olympics. It's coming up in a few months. I'm excited to see the rosters are going to be coming out for U.S., Canada, and all the other respective nations. But yeah, I'm excited for the coverage too, because Brent's going to be joining myself and Dustin. We're going to be paying attention to Olympic coverage on the men's side, because let's just face facts. It's gonna be Canada, USA in the gold medal final again. Unless something happens where the USA or Canada drops the ball in the semis in the medal round.
Yeah,
it's gonna be us two again.
It's great.
But all right, we're gonna get out of here. Before we do that, just want to remind you whether watching or listening to follow No Credentials Required on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, or YouTube. Just search for No Credentials Required and check out our podcasts like Brent's and Dan's and other written articles at bellyupsports.com. On the podcast side, subscribe to the podcast on platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Spreaker, Amazon Music, iHeart, TuneIn, Pandora, our YouTube channel, and our host, which is Podbean. Hit that notification bell on Twitter and on YouTube so you know when shows go live, when clips are up, and when show announcements go up as well. I'll be back tomorrow night on the OG show talking about week 5 in the NFL. I will be tentatively joined by Jared from the Corner Booth podcast because, again, Dustin's on vacation. Dustin, if you're watching, hope you're having fun. Also, my niece Bella, she's watching on replay. Hi, Bella. So we're going to get out of here. Thanks again for joining us here on the NHL Preseason Show on No Credentials Required, presented by Belly Up Sports. For Brent, for Dan, thank you to SeatGeek for being a sponsor. My name is Ryan McCarthy. Enjoy the hockey, folks. It's going to be a long season, but it's going to be a fun season. And hopefully we'll be back here again soon to talk more hockey. But in the meantime, enjoy the sports. Enjoy the hockey. We'll talk to you soon. We'll talk to you tomorrow night. Thanks to these gentlemen. We'll talk to you soon.